This is Shawn Michaels, former WWE Superstars, and you're listening to InYourHeadOnline.com.
All right, we're back. Welcome to In Your Head Wrestling Radio. I'm the internet icon, Jackie Jones, along with my right-hand man.
The all-knowing 1-inch biceps, the power coat. How about that?
Well, that's not too bad. It's still a little sleepy. But joining us right off the bat here, Incher, we have a former Nexus member, one of the founding fathers of Nexus, former WWE superstar, and we'll find out what he's up to right now. We have Michael Tarver with us.
Hey, how you guys doing? What's going on?
Doing pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, everybody know, too, if you guys want to call in and ask a question, you call 508-644-8503. So just want to know, what are you up to right now?
Well, right now, man, I'm just working, staying in my faith. I'm a very, very spiritual person, as has been pretty much well publicized, and that I've done myself. Work very, very hard in my church and my ministry. I still wrestle, actually, independently, and I still train. Just recently beginning the stages of starting to train MMA again. But, I do a lot of traveling and speaking to at-risk youth, speaking at churches, speaking at juvenile detention centers, things like that, just trying to use my powers for good, so to speak.
Well, that's really cool. Let's go back. How did you get involved in FCW in the first place?
Well, it's a funny story because a friend of mine that I knew on the independent scene, a guy named John McChesney, very, very, very good, very talented wrestler, had actually called me. It was December 18th, I believe it was. And this was in 2007. Called me and asked me if I could be in New York the next day, which just happened to be a Monday night. And I asked him why. I didn't know what it would be about. I know we were both, wrestlers. And he explained that they were having a SmackDown taping in Rochester, New York, and they needed bodyguards and, big guys for an angle between Ben JBL and Chris Jericho. I said, yeah, of course. I'd never gotten booked at an extra before with WWE, and things were starting to kind of roll in my direction at that point. So, I said, of course. And then at the last, I scrambled everything I could together to drive all the way up to Rochester, New York. I got there and, got in the ring and got a tryout, and immediately was pulled out of the ring to go meet John Laurinaitis and was offered a job.
Wow. Well, what do you think, about you? Like, got noticed right away?
My intensity. I think there were other guys, a bunch of other guys there, other big guys, and when none of them really got in the ring until they pulled me in the ring. And I've always been fearless. It was one of my downfalls because I've always been a fearless person.
Yeah.
So, I'm not afraid to make a fool of myself or do anything in front of a billion people. So when I was in the ring, I was working a trial match with another one of the guys that was trying out, and I remember, I think it was like Elijah Burke or somebody. He had talked to me after the match when he was still with the company. Somebody had yelled out something. I guess they were heckling me or whatever, and I turned and looked at all of the talent and told them to shut up, like as loud as I could, just trying to being a bad guy. And everybody was like, oh, so. I didn't realize what I was doing, but I just, I didn't know what I was doing. So I turned and looked, shut up, and got back to the match. And kind of shocked everybody pleasantly, I guess. And because all of the talent was there. This was the pre-show. So, everyone's just hanging out, getting ready for the night. And but I definitely believe it was my intensity and my look, and the fact that I'm not afraid to take control of the room.
Yeah. Now, something a lot of people have been talking about recently is handshaking in wrestling, and I don't know if you know the story of the Young Bucks and TNA, and they're trying WWE. Both places, people have been saying, they didn't shake Booker T's hand, they didn't shake RVD's hand, and and people like that. Did you, when you were there, did you make sure to go around and shake everyone's hand, and is that like a really important thing?
Oh yeah, it's a very important thing. It's not just a ritual. It's out of respect, and to let everybody know that you care about being there, and you care about, working with, or potentially working with the people in the locker room, and it's something that when you shake hands, you never know who you're working with, and, wrestlers shake hands because we need each other. We work together, and and it's not always peaches and cream. You know, guys hate each other. Wrestlers have egos based on something that's not even quote unquote real.
Mm-hmm.
So they will shake hands begrudgingly, but they still do it. You know, I shook hands with John Cena for a long time, and him and I don't like each other. So, you know, it's out of respect and professionalism, but, you know, young guys, I don't know the Young Bucks, but, you know, if you go in just at someone else's house and you want to be there and you don't shake people's hand, and I don't know what to say. But then again, sometimes things also happen where you just don't see somebody, or the right opportunity doesn't present itself. Because I will tell you, if you don't know WWE and you've never been there, you walk backstage, that atmosphere is intense, and people aren't exactly making themselves readily available for you to shake their hand either.
Right.
So you got to have your grapes in your hand, in one hand, and ready to shake with the other.
Right. So, you know, you had the tryout, and they signed you right away, and you went to FCW. And what was your experience in FCW like?
Awesome. It was a great experience because I jumped in and got started right away. I was telling someone the story last night on an interview that my first week, I was on WrestleMania 24. that was amazing. But my second week, we were at a show that we used to do, a weekly show at a place called Bourbon Street in Newport Beach, Florida.
Go on, start.
Oh, no problem. And I just noticed how the crowd was reacting to Alicia Fox when she was in FCW in developmental. So I walked over to Steve Kern and I told him, I'm 100% sure I can get a great reaction from this crowd. I can get a lot of heat from this crowd when we get a promo. And he looked at me and said, really? No one ever does that. No one walks up to him and says, put me on. But I just, once again, I've always been fearless. And, I walked up to him and I told him that. And he said, you really? I said, oh, yeah, I'm sure I could. Not thinking that he would go to his phone, text, and look at me and say, okay, you're up. but he did.
Uh-huh.
So, and I was like, right now? And he said, yeah, after this next match, see what you got.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, no problem. And, and I was prepared. I'm always prepared. And sure enough, match was over. I walked up to the ring, jumped in the ring. No one even knew who I was. I had just met everyone in the locker room. No one there, the regulars didn't know who I was. So when I took the mic from the ring announcer, he was like 100% petrified, but he had an idea what was about to happen as far as the promo. And then I proceeded to cut the ugliest heel promo known to man and got booed out of the building, and it was a huge success.
Excellent.
That's just wild. And who would you say was everyone there helpful? Would you say like all the other wrestlers and all the trainers?
Oh yeah. Everyone was very, very helpful. I didn't really encounter any problems. I never encountered problems at FCW with other wrestlers. There were a few towards the end, but when I first got there, to FCW, it was the guys left over from OVW and Deep South, and that was when it was developmental was extremely competitive. It's nowhere near as competitive as it used to be. Not to say that there's not as much talent, because there are very talented guys there, but it's nowhere near as competitive as it used to be as far as with guys who have genuine experience and who've been around, and because there wasn't a bunch of ex-NFL players fresh off the training field and supermodels fresh off the pages walking in FCW, which sometimes I feel for the trainers there because they have to pull their hair out trying to teach these ex-pro football players with these egos how to take an arm drag, when they're letting go of guys who've been working for them for the past I don't know how many years that they know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just it is what it is.
Andrew, do you have a question from the message board?
Yeah, I have a question from the message board. Let's see here. Nikhil, he wants to know, can you tell us any original plans from Nexus that wasn't in the storylines? Something that might have got dropped.
There was actually, the thing with the Nexus is there was nothing that was actually planned except to go out and do what we did the original night, the first night. Everything else just kind of happened. It was a snowball effect. And that's really, honestly, how WWE works for the most part. And when you have to produce an original program every week of the year for multiple shows for over 100 talent, it's not very easy to write something 6-7 months out or weeks out in advance. You would think, and then once again, it's a double-edged sword, you would think that they would have more of an idea of what they're doing, because sometimes it seems like they all know what they're doing, and sometimes they don't know what they're doing. But at the same time, they're also listening and catering to their fans that they call the WWE Universe, which is the reason why they still come. And in a time where financially the country isn't doing well, WWE still thrives. Mind you, they're cutting talent left and right, and there's only a few millionaires. Everyone else there is just kind of working. But the point is that WWE knows what it's doing, even when it doesn't know what it's doing.
Right.
So everything that you saw with the Nexus, it was just one of those things where it's like, okay, this makes sense. Let's move to this. This makes sense. Let's move to that. And then there was an underlying theme, of course, but we were kind of informed as the weeks progressed. So we honestly had no idea what it was going to become.
Now, when you're in FCW and people get signed up or go up to the big show, do any of the other wrestlers get jealous about that, or are they happy for you guys?
Oh, everyone gets jealous. But I mean, it's human nature, I guess. It just depends on who you are. I've never gotten jealous. I mean, there's been times where I was there. There was a time where I was there when Lance Hoyt debuted as Vance Archer, and he's a very good friend of mine. And him and I got to know each other, and we became very close. And there were a lot of times where WWE personnel would come to FCW to scout talent to see who they could, come up and make money with. And mind you, this was he debuted in 2009 on ECW, and him and I were supposed to debut together. As a matter of fact, this is the word that I was given. And him and I had a very, very, very physical match in front of WWE personnel at FCW. And very impressive match. And, he debuted and I didn't. But, one of the reasons why was because I didn't have a passport yet. But, otherwise, who knows? WWE can do whatever they want, so they can give you whatever reason they want for whatever they do. But, of course, there's jealousy. I mean, it's just part of the game, I guess. But the guys who know what they're capable of and are actually more capable are the ones who don't really get as jealous. If you want to look at it that way.
Yeah. Now, how did they explain the NXT to you guys? Did they? Because it seemed like they had a lot of buzz about it, like it was going to be this big show. Did they come to you guys so this there's going to be a big deal, or how did it come about?
Oh yeah, definitely. WWE is really good at selling everything that they do, whether it works or not. So they came. I'm not saying NXT didn't work, but
yeah,
they came. They came down. The talent relations team came down in late 2009 and explained, or actually early 2010, and explained the plans. That there was going to be a new show, and ECW was going away. And we were like, really? And then they came down again and explained what the show was going to be, but we still didn't know who was going to be on it. There was going to be a reality show, and so we're all thinking, oh my God, another Tough Enough? And the Tough Enough actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
We're all like, oh my God, no way. And I'm thinking to myself, I do not want to be on Tough Enough. I do not want to be on Tough Enough. I wanted to just debut on SmackDown, and as myself, which, as I probably should have, I felt like I earned the right to do, and I felt like I was talented enough to do. And everyone feels that way, I guess, or should. But at the same time, I was going to take whatever they gave me because I just wanted out of FCW, and I just wanted a shot. And so as time progressed, they came down again and informed us they would be called NXT, told us the names of the NXT cast, the original cast, and then, and explained more things to us. And then as time, moved on, we started to see more things start happening with the show progressing, and we eventually debuted.
Did they have any plans for the show? Tell you how it was going to work? Because a lot of times it seemed like it was kind of made up as it went along.
Yeah. The beauty of NXT was that it was based on spontaneity. So whatever happened, for the most part, they made it based on our real knee-jerk reactions. So, and it was called, quote unquote, a reality show. But in all reality, it was 50% planned and 50% not planned. They basically, they had the pros were in on the rib and we weren't. So what they did was they had WWE talent and, whatever. It was like a test on the fire for us. They would do certain things, say certain things. Like, for example, Carlito spitting the apple in Heath Slater's face the third or fourth week of the season. And me thinking, okay, he's probably going to spit this apple in my face. All right, now it's time for me to go. Let's get ready. I'm going to get a shot. And then he spits it in Heath Slater's face and gets in his face and then walks off. Heath Slater had no idea that was coming. Mm-hmm. And he was really, really upset, but that was what they wanted out of it, And at the same time, they also knew what they wanted as far as who they wanted out of it. No matter what they were capable of, they made the show about who they wanted to make it about. For example, if you look at the cast of pros versus the cast of rookies. The rookies you don't know anything about except for David and Bryan Danielson, unless you have studied FCW and you know what we're all capable of. The pros, mm-hmm. If you rank the pros from top to bottom as far as how the roster, on the roster as far as how TV time portrays them or makes them work, you have someone like myself, who was my pro was Carlito, who nothing against Carlito. Carlito was an extremely talented person who should have at least had a chance to be a world champion, but things just didn't work out that way, so he wasn't really used much versus Wade Barrett's pro, who was the world champion, Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, Bryan Danielson has a match with Chris Jericho, the debut show of the season, for the world championship. For no reason. Granted, it was a dream match for me because, it was nice to see that, and I was very supportive. But at the same time, it was hard thinking a couple weeks down the line, like, wow, am I going to get a shot? Mm-hmm. But, it's just, if you pay close attention, you can tell who they were interested in and who they weren't.
Yeah. Did you like that they tagged you all with the rookies moniker?
I didn't care, honestly. I mean, I wasn't a rookie. But
yeah.
I didn't care. I mean, by WWE standards, yes, I was. And, we all were, including Bryan Danielson. And people say what they want about him, and I will agree. He's incredibly talented, as far as in the ring and wrestling. But we're all rookies as far as WWE is concerned because I've seen everyone, including him, grow tremendously in the past 2 years since we all debuted at WWE and went full time. So it's true that you can always get better, and guys who think that you can wrestle in indies for all of these years and guys who wrestle in indies for all of these years, whether it's ROH or wherever, who think that they can't get any better. And, a lot of them have a lot of sour grapes because they don't have the look or whatever or the opportunity to go to WWE. Mm-hmm. What I would say is that I agree that they're talented, but you don't really, really, really understand this business until you go to WWE.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What stage would you say they consider you not a rookie?
It wasn't really an organized thing. It was just, over time, they stopped calling us rookies. Yeah. And it was just, throughout the show, we were rookies, but, all of us, with the exception of David Tonga, have been wrestling close to between 7 to 10 years on average, with the most experience obviously being Danny Bryan. But, when we got to WWE, it didn't matter, Mm-hmm. So, you play football your entire life and get to the NFL, you're still a rookie when you get there. And it's just, with the Nexus, thing, the strength of the storyline was based on the fact that we were rookies. And that was the beauty of it, And I mentioned before in another interview a week or two ago, Frank Kazarian got on TNA. I guess he thought he was doing something when he called us a band of angry rookies during the storyline when it was hot when they formed Fortune. Mm-hmm. On their program, but the beauty of it is that we were a band of angry rookies. That was the beauty of it, and that's why people wanted to see it. Because we weren't a bunch of established guys who had made all of the millions in one company and then were coming to make all of the millions in another company. Nothing against anyone, no disrespect, but we were brand new, fresh faces that had never been seen before, and that's something that the industry needs. That WWE knows how to do, but sometimes they choose not to.
It was exciting when you all made that debut as Nexus.
Oh, yeah, it was. Very.
When did they tell you about the Nexus plan?
The day of. We didn't know. We got buzz from Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett actually is a real life leader. What you see on TV is him with everyone in the Nexus. What you saw what they are, what they're like for real, or, in person, minus a few tweaks as far as TV goes. And on the same token, there's a lot that you didn't get to see. Like, you never really got to see what Darren Young could really do in the ring and what his personality is really like. You never really got to see Michael Tarver ever wrestle, so the world believes that Michael Tarver can't wrestle. And you never, and there's a lot of things, it's just you never got to see Skip Sheffield really do anything more than just clothesline people. But Skip Sheffield is an extremely gifted athlete. He's extremely gifted, and certain guys you did get to see, and so it was just one of those things where Wade Barrett approached us. He was approached, and he approached us, and the deal was go out, destroy everything, don't touch the cameras, destroy everything, destroy Cena. If you don't do it, you're going, and if you tell anyone, you're going. And, the plan was wear the Nexus armbands everywhere you go, in the airport, in the shower, when you're in bed with your woman, when you're in bed with your wife, when you're in bed with your girlfriend, when you're in bed with your boyfriend. And it doesn't matter where you go, you cannot be seen without that Nexus armband, and do not sign autographs and take pictures. And so we said, okay. And it was an offer we couldn't refuse.
Right.
And we went out and made history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was there any Nexus members that did have a boyfriend?
No. But during NXT season, Dave Tucker, it was funny. He called, we rep Justin Gabriel all the time. He called him Justin Gabriel. That man, he's there's not a woman on the planet that doesn't walk by him and want him. So that guy right there, I don't.
Just a little payback.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good guy.
Which Nexus member would you say you're closest to?
Throughout stages, when I was in FCW, I was very close to David Otunga, very close to Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel and Wade Barrett as well. All of them, actually. I was really, really close to all of them. And Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, we met right before NXT, and he's just one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet in your entire life. He's really, really genuinely a nice guy. And I probably would say that it was David Otunga because I spent a lot of time helping him, get the mechanics of his ring work. And, he's very, and, people say what they want to say about David Otunga and the truth. And I'll be real. The truth is he is where he is because of his name and the name of the woman he's married to. It's not because of his, wrestling talent and ring prowess and athletic ability. But at the same time, I will say that man is humble and he works very hard to get better and get as good as he can in the ring so he can do his job. And there's never been a time where he never pulled me aside and said, can you help? And I gladly did it.
Mm. What was it like backstage the night of the tie incident?
The night, it was, no one really knew.
It was more like the next day.
Honestly, we didn't really have any idea until the next week. It was just like a state of nirvana backstage. We couldn't believe it. We were just stunned, like what just happened? Mm-hmm. And and the fans were just stunned. And we walked backstage, and everyone was just looking at us like, what did you just do? It was we did what you wanted us to do. And then the rest of the talent was just like, oh my God, what just happened? And because they didn't know, and it wasn't until next week that we realized that Daniel Bryan wasn't going to be with us anymore, and we were all shocked. And nobody knew. It wasn't like a storyline or anything like that. We didn't know. And we found out the same way all the rest of the fans found out.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but if you're surprised to know that a lot of fans still think that was the story.
Oh, you know what? I don't. Knowing WWE, I wouldn't be surprised if it was, to be honest with you, because, the beauty of it is WWE can and will do whatever it wants. It can, and I've said it on an interview. I've done a lot of interviews lately, and on one of them I said that, WWE can take anybody, regardless of what they're capable of or not capable of, and make them look however they want, whether they want them to look like $1 million or they want them to look like nothing. And they can do that. So they make their own rules, and they can fire somebody and bring them back as part of a storyline because the fans want to see them. Some people, I got my situation in some conversations got compared to Daniel Bryan's situation only in the fact that when I came back on TV, hiding out backstage, they didn't expect for people to be for the fans to really want to see me as much as they did, and it was a lot of buzz as to what in the world I was doing back on TV, because people still care about the original members of the Nexus, and it was something that was so powerful that they could have taken any of us, and all 8 of us for that matter, and created the next, upper echelon of the WWE that will carry on for the next 10 years, but they didn't do that. So, they could have actually, I could have showed up on SummerSlam and ran in and interrupted the main event with John Cena or whatever for that matter, and it would have been the biggest hit of the year, and it would have been the same thing they did with Daniel Bryan, and it would have worked. Or they could have pretended like I don't exist. So I mean, it's just it's all in what they choose to do.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up earlier that you didn't have many matches, and I noticed we talked about this on the show. Like each week, like you really had a presence on the show, and you were wearing the mask. And did you just have that in your mind? Anytime you're on screen, you're going to make the most of it.
Oh yeah, one thing that I know and that I've learned is that wherever you are, be there more than anyone else is there. I don't have to say a word. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to peacock or wear loud colors or anything like that. I don't have to name drop. All I have to do is walk in the room, and I guarantee everyone and everyone will know it from there. And that's one thing that I was born with, and it's something that you can learn. But I knew that being on NXT, as the weeks progressed earlier on in the show, that I was not going to get the same opportunities. And, weeks that went by before I even got a match. And out of all of the guys there, I wasn't. A lot of the guys, had 5, 6 matches, and at point mid-season, I only had 2 matches or 2 matches, I think. So it was to a point where, like, okay, I started saying something like, okay, how am I supposed to be competing in this fixed competition if I've only had 2 matches, everyone else has 5 or 6 matches? And how can I be ranked if I've never had any matches? So I said, okay, we got that, we got you, we'll fix you, and then I have my matches and lose all of them. So, but at the same time, what makes a superstar is the person's ability to still shine no matter what. And I still stood out, and I found a way to stand out. They took everything. They took my finisher, took my gimmick, took everything. And, I gave it up out of respect for the Big Show, even though that was a really messed up situation where it happened. I gave it up out of respect for the Big Show because he's earned that respect, regardless of whatever the relationship with him and I was like, and whatever, however he can be at times, he earned that. And it is up to me to give him that respect, being at the Big Show as a legend. And, I was, just a rookie by my time in WWE or at that level. So I came up with the T-shirts, and I spoke through my T-shirts, and I spoke through my actions, because I knew that if, I had to be on TV when they started doing the challenges. So the best way to make an impact is to be the biggest loser, because there was no way I was going to win anything. So I decided to start throwing challenges and snatching the mic from people and Matt Striker and forcing promos and being unpredictable and just make myself the lightning rod of the show. And it worked.
Was the backstage cool with that you just, to compete in the different tasks?
Yeah. No one ever told me. It was the funny thing about it, is that we were told the show was built on its ability to be unpredictable. So whatever happens, happens. All you have to do, like I said, is just have the grapes in one hand and the other hand ready to go. And when we test you, you better react and you better respond. So I'm ready and ready and ready and ready, and I'm watching everyone else get the chance, and I'm ready and ready, and I'm still watching, and still watching, and still watching, and still watching. So I'm like, okay, I can cut a promo better than anyone here. I'm as good, if not better, than anyone here in the ring. I have more of a presence than anyone here, but I'm standing backstage. So I can't just let the season end and I just be forgotten, because they also kind of made us feel like that, after the season, based on how you finished, you would be done with. I'm like, okay, but it's a fixed competition. So I decided to just make myself known and make myself the bad guy of the group and stand out. And they liked it, but it was never. The only person who really actually ever showed me that he liked what I was doing was, believe it or not, Vince himself. And, and they got it. The writers got it. They never tapped me on the back and said, "Thank you for making that segment interesting." They just, kind of let go. But I didn't care. I got to a point where I stopped caring and stopped being afraid, and just said, what I'm doing is working. So I'm going to keep doing it.
Well, what was your interaction with Vince?
Wonderful. I've never had a bad experience with Vince McMahon. Probably because I hadn't worked with WWE long enough. I don't know. But I've never had a bad experience with Vince McMahon, and I think him and I had a unique relationship because he got me, and he knew that I got him. And that may it may sound I lost the word I'm looking for, but or arrogant is really not the word I was looking for. But the point is that I got him, and I knew what he wanted. It's like we would have our weekly promo classes and speech classes and things like that he would teach and conduct himself, and he is an amazing teacher. And I'm not just saying that to be political. I'm not political at all, but he is an amazing teacher on how to be a superstar and how to make nothing in the simple. And obviously, because he's the mastermind behind the entire business now. But we would have these classes, and I would walk up and interrupt the class and force him to give me an opportunity to cut a promo in front of the entire roster. And that's like, that atmosphere. You can imagine sitting in the middle of a frying pan. Mm-hmm. That's what that was. And they would just cut you to pieces, and I just destroyed every time, just slash the entire room to pieces. Where people would give me standing ovations every week, and and there would be times when Vince, one time even I would always shake his hand. And he just knew I got what he was saying. He knew that I got how to use awkward moments and different ways to speak and say unorthodox things to get the fans' attention, and then wrap it around and make it make sense, and not cut a wrestling promo, but actually talk. And the sound of my voice and my diction, the way I pronounce things, and my look, and it's just, I knew what I was doing. And it was just something that came so naturally that there's not one person in the walls of WWE from top to bottom who do not know what Michael Tarver is capable of on the microphone, and who don't know that Michael Tarver is as good as anyone they have there, or has ever had. And there was a time where I was regarded as one of, if not the best they've ever had in developmental on the mic. Yet I never got a chance to cut promos.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that was anybody in particular that didn't want you to do that, or just didn't happen?
It's always somebody that doesn't want you to do it. If you have a team and you have a panel of coaches or whatever, and you don't know everyone who is your team or who is the new crop of rookies, and you look at them at first impression based on your opinions on life, and the person doesn't necessarily give you a boner, then you really don't hear anything from them. And a lot of times it happens. I mean, when John Cena first debuted, he didn't exactly excite the powers that be for the most part. So there were a lot of people that just didn't think he had with him in the Rock. And the list goes on. There are people in the CM Punk for that matter. There were a lot of people who just didn't think he had what it took because he just looked too indie. And it just, it's up to that person to break through and force them to see what you have. And I did that backstage. It just never got to be seen.
Yeah. Well, what do you think of your elimination from NXT when you did the promo about who do you think should be gone from the program, and you said it should be me because I'll kill everybody out here or something like that,
Yeah. It's amazing. People didn't, and WWE management for that matter, and I will say, not to toot my own horn, as a testament to my talent, they really bought what I was saying. And, be that as it may, they eliminated me the next week. Mm-hmm. And they told me because I said that I should be eliminated, and that was a bad idea. And I'm like, well, my 3-year-old, I know the show's eliminated, it's not real. But at the same time, what I said was a metaphor, and it was, I should be gone from here because from this point on, no one and nothing is safe. No, I should not be eliminated, but I will make sure that no one is safe.
Yeah.
As long as I'm here. And that was what I said. Daniel Bryan said I should be eliminated.
Yeah.
And I said, as long as I'm here, no one is safe. That's the difference. But I knew that if I was to stand there, because I knew, and Max Rock and I had a very good relationship. He got me. So it was, once after the first time I snatched the microphone from him and they started reading my blogs and tweets, they realized that I was a lightning rod, and I was definitely someone who should have the microphone because I'm going to say something controversial, as opposed to everyone else doing the vote for me, I'm the good guy, and I'm going to wrestle as hard as I can speech. I don't do that. So, he would come to me, and once they started saying that I was going to say something that got some excitement, and I knew the most unlikely thing that I could possibly say was that, at the risk of people not getting what I was actually trying to say, I still did it anyway because it was the right thing to do. I wasn't after the personality that I had been portraying for the past 6 or 7 weeks. The person who was stubborn and didn't want to do anything because, I was angry and I was the heel and I was the bad guy. And, believe it or not, people backstage actually really bought into that and thought that's who I really was. And it's like I had to remind people, legends, that I'm working. That's not really me. That's not my attitude. But people actually thought I had a bad attitude based on how I was performing on TV. So I'm like, okay, well, if you can take that to add to my ability to work, then, we have something. But
you did it too well.
I think so. And not to say that everyone backstage was like that, but I think it's just a matter of, you have your opinions on life based on how you grew up, and you see somebody that fits, a particular part of your opinion, and you won't let them leave that part of your opinion no matter what they do. So, it's just one of those things where I unfortunately fell into that category, and like I said, the most unlikely thing I could say was that. So I decided to say.
Now, a lot of people have heard you mention him, and just we want to know what was it like working with John Cena, and what are your opinions on him?
Working with John Cena was absolutely amazing. There's nothing in any venture of sports or entertainment that is like standing in a ring and listening to the people just implode in a building when his music hits and he comes out. It doesn't matter if it's some crap hole in Midland, Texas with 10,000 people in it, or if it's the O2 Arena in London, England with 20,000 people in it and millions watching around the world. That man is a superstar. And standing in the ring with him, there is absolutely nothing like it. Being in the ring with him, there's nothing like it. People say that he can't wrestle, and I may not be able to I don't like John Cena. I can't stand him, but I will tell you that him not being able to wrestle, there's nothing further from the truth. Is he as technically gifted as CM Punk or Chris Benoit for that matter? And yes, I did say Chris Benoit because I'm not afraid to say Chris Benoit. He does exist, regardless of what he did. No, he's not. John Cena is not. But at the same time, John Cena he's very capable in the ring, just like The Miz is very capable in the ring. Someone who is that over as a superstar, it's not just because of his incredible ability to talk and his looks, I guess, or his look, or his clean-cut look. It's the fact that he actually can wrestle and tell stories. And, that's something that John Cena is as good as anyone is at doing. And, a lot of people disagree with his style. And there were some things that I don't agree with that I've seen him do. But I will say this. When you get to the level that he is at, not everyone is going to agree with what you do either. And it just is what it is. And working with him was amazing. And getting to know him wasn't amazing. But, at the same time, who am I and who is John Cena? And, not to say that if I were to get to that point, and I would be that guy, and there would be another me coming along who was in my place, would I treat him the same way Cena treated me? No, I wouldn't. But at the same time, I'm not going to cry with spilled milk. John Cena is John Cena for a reason. And he worked hard enough and earned and was given the opportunities to be John Cena, and he fit the bill, and he's done it like no one else. So, however he decides he wants to treat anyone, it's up to him, and he's earned the right to do that.
Now, for people who don't know, what do you mean by that? How did he treat you?
Like crap. He just, I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not afraid of John Cena. I don't work for WWE anymore, and I wasn't afraid to say it when I worked for WWE, and once again, one of my biggest detriments was that I'm fearless. And John Cena was kind of he treated me like crap, but I learned a lot from him, and he taught me a lot, and he taught all of us a lot. And when you have unlimited power within a kingdom, so to speak, or a corporation, And you actually, whether or not it's conflict of interest, have the ability to make or break a young career, then you can do that. And it doesn't matter how talented or gifted or even dedicated, for that matter, you are. If he likes you, then you're on to the top. If he doesn't like you, then you're not. And it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Now, it's still up to you to work. And it's still up to you to do your job. And it's still up to you to show up and have a good attitude and maintain a good attitude. And, you know, and that's even a cliche because it's hard to have a good attitude when you're being treated a certain way and being overworked, underpaid, and misused. But at the same time, it's still up to you to find a way to have a good attitude. It's a lot easier to have a good attitude when the sun is shining on you every day. But the people who get rained on are the ones who build the most character and have the most talent.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of stuff did he do to you? Just generally didn't treat you well, or was there any like specific incidents?
Oh, there were tons of specific incidents. One in particular, the chair incident.
Uh-huh.
But you know, it was a lot of specific incidents. It was just. And I knew my place. I knew that I was a rookie. I knew, you know, by their standards, they're legends. They're superstars. I'm not on John Cena's level as far as where he ranks in the game and what he's done. I will say that I can stand in the ring with a microphone and go toe-to-toe with him on any given night. I will say that I can stand in the ring and I can have a classic match with him on any given night, and I will hold my own. I will with anyone that has there. I will say that. Am I as talented in the ring as CM Punk? No. Am I as gifted in the ring as experienced with Daniel Bryan? No. But I do know what I'm doing, contrary to how I was portrayed. I'm a very good wrestler, and I'm very good at getting a reaction from the crowd with my presence.
Yeah.
Now, and it's something that, you know, I could say that, but if you don't know it, then, you know, you have your right to your opinion. And, you know, there was a lot of times where he wouldn't even shake my hand. And, you know, and it was just, you know, I was like, all right. Well, then, you know, and there was times where we just handshake and that'll be that, you know. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm not, you know, I'm a big boy. You know, I've been through hell in life where the rest of the rookies haven't really been through much. Just, you know, maybe one or two. So, you know, I was older than the rest of them, which has been, you know, not much, but. So it wasn't anything new to me. I had to go through hell to get to WWE, and I went through hell when I was at WWE. So it's just something I'm built for.
Yeah.
But obviously, the most notable incidents was the chair incident at the pay-per-view. It was just one of those things where if certain things are planned, which, you know, for example, things like when you're using weapons, chairs or whatever, those things are planned because they're dangerous, and we are specifically trained and taught how to use those kinds of things. So when that time comes, we knew that David Otunga and I knew that we were going to take a chair shot. So when it came, and I started taking more than what was planned, and then the one I got hit with was way harder than I ever, you know, imagined it would be. You know, and I was just surprised, like, wow, all right, okay, I'm a rookie, I'll take it. And, you know, I had gotten hurt in 2005 by a chair shot, you know, accidental chair shots that hit me in the back of my neck and the base of my head, and I was unconscious and paralyzed for 45 minutes. So it was just one of those things. I had to get staples in my head. So it was one of those things where I hadn't taken a chair shot since then, but I trusted him. He was John Cena. And I was wrong for trusting him because, you know, once I noticed David Otunga was getting hit more than I thought he was going to get hit, same with him with the chair, I decided to get out of there. And I wasn't fast enough, and he came to me, and I saw the chair coming towards what I thought was my head. So I had to put my left arm up to protect myself, and the point of the chair hit my forearm, and I immediately felt bones crack and knew something was wrong with my arm. Now, you protect yourself. You're taught to protect yourself, and in a working fashion. You're taught to protect yourself and tell a story, and some sacrifices you just have to make. Be that as it may, wrestling is fake, it's entertainment. And we know that the outcome is predetermined, as WWE has said. But what we're seeing doing in the ring is real. You really get slammed. You really get hurt. You really, really get punched. And, you know, it is an art form, and we're telling a story, but at the same time, we're also really, really beating each other up, which the difference is that we're not fighting to a finish that is undetermined like UFC. We're fighting to a finish that is determined to carry on a storyline. And people have the misconception and just lazily call it fake. But, you know, far from me to defend the wrestling business, But at the same time, I knew my arm was hurt. So I got out of there, and the camera, I don't even know the camera was on us, but we all ran to the entrance, and the match finished, and I remember I dropped to my knee in pain, and Justin Gabriel grabbed my arm and picked me up and asked me what was wrong. I told him my arm was broken. And he's like, what? So, I get backstage, and it's customary that you wait and you shake the hand of the person you're working with, especially in my position, and all of us, for that matter, working with someone of the magnitude of John Cena. So, you're a rookie and you catch a touchdown pass from Brett Favre, you thank him for throwing you the ball,
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just one of those things you just do. And I was kicking over trash cans, I was yelling and screaming. I was trying my best not to make too much of a scene because I didn't want to lose my job. And it was obvious to everyone watching that chair shot looked a little bit malicious. But before I say anything else, let me clear it up. John Cena didn't come towards me with the intention to break my arm.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have any intentions on being careful with that chair shot. And I'm sure he really could care less that he hurt my arm, but at the same time, he didn't try to hurt me. He just wasn't trying to be careful. And that's what people get mixed up. They're saying that I accused him of intentionally breaking my arm. No, he accidentally broke my arm. He just didn't care about it.
Yeah.
Mm.
But, so once he got backstage and I collected myself and I'm holding my left arm up, and like as if it was in a sling because I couldn't let it go down. I couldn't let it hang. I'm in a lot of pain. I'm angry. And he's walking by, and so I reach my hand out to shake his hand. And I say, thank you, son. And, he looks at me and laughs and keeps walking. So, I'm thinking to myself, are you kidding me? And it took everything in me not to attack him. Because, I'm a talent. I'm a WWE talent. And I'm a professional, but I'm a man at the same time. And I have children to take care of. And, it's just one of those things where all the power in the world will not protect you from someone who can actually really hurt you physically in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm a man in the sense that I don't need to hurt somebody to get my point across. I'm educated. So I stood there, and he stopped after about 5 more steps, turned and looked at me, laughed, and said, how's the arm? And I stood there, and I said, it's fine, thank you. And he could tell that I wanted to kill him. And I think he had got pleasure in that, so he laughed again and walked off.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's the story. That is John Cena's story.
Mm-hmm. Did he treat all the other Nexus members like that, or did he just kind of single you out?
Nope, he did not treat all the other Nexus members like that. John Cena, I will say this. There was, I guess you can call it hazing or whatever, but, once again, if you or John Cena or The Big Show or Chris Jericho or whoever else, and you have carried the torch, you have earned the right to decide who gets to have the torch passed to a certain degree. Granted, it is kind of conflict of interest, but at the same time, if I'm in a position and a new guy comes up and I'm trying to make something out of him and he just doesn't have it, then I'm going to say that he doesn't have it. And I can't give him what I have worked so hard to maintain and build and watch it go to crap. So I understand with their point of view, because I'm looking at my point of view and their point of view. They don't see mine because they've forgotten that they used to be me, because they're so caught up in being them, which they have a right to be. They are who they are. They're legends. It's just, I feel like you got to get to a point where you don't forget where you came from and forget that these rookies that you're having your way with, you used to be them. And at the same time, I'm not saying hug them and coddle them, but I'm saying understand that they're grinding and hustling and struggling just like you did.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what you throw at them, they keep coming. You got to give them some respect. And whether they choose to or not, they have the right to do that. But no, he didn't treat. I wasn't treated the same way the rest of the Nexus members were treated.
Can you pinpoint where the bad blood started between you two, or?
I don't know that there was any bad blood. It's just I just started noticing it during NXT when I started being tagged as the guy with the bad attitude based on the character I was trying to portray. Even though I had writers telling me, yeah, I get what you're doing, I still got tagged as the guy with the bad attitude. And it's hard because, WWE is such a powerful entity that its fans believe, and they're supposed to believe, because WWE is so powerful. And it is what it is. So if one person comes out and speaks their mind, it doesn't matter how much of a fan any one of their fans used to be with that person, it's looked at as sour grapes, as I've been told in the past month, in this whole firestorm of media that I've been collecting. So, people say, have their opinions. Some people say, that I didn't really get a fair shake in WWE. A lot of people have said that. And there are some people who say, well, I just had sour grapes because I didn't have any talent. So, I welcome any opinion or comment, because as long as you have one, then I'm on your mind. And it's, which means that I did something. I did something that was meant something. And I just noticed it. And once I got tagged with that reputation and, backstage, I did everything I was supposed to do. I showed up to the arena. I showed up to work essentially an hour early. I was the first person in the ring, the last person out, one of the only people in that group who would be in the ring, practicing, working, training, pre-show, doing everything I could to get noticed every single week. Every time. I didn't just hang around in catering. I didn't just walk around like I was a superstar. I acted. I played my part. I worked my butt off and never really got much for it. We had our promo classes and media classes, and I would stand up and take initiative and impress and wow everyone, and never really got much for it. And, all the promos would get written for other people. And it was one of those things where, whose fault is it? And I won't blame anyone else but myself. Regardless of what I think I did or didn't do, I'm still only going to blame myself because only I can control me. They can't control me, and I can't control them, so I can't blame them, essentially.
Something we read online a lot was that Vince or WWE was upset that the Nexus shirts weren't big sellers, but to me it didn't really make much sense because they're heels. But did you hear anything about that?
Said over Nexus shirts what?
That originally the Nexus shirts weren't big sellers, and there's a big rumor online that McMahon and the WWE were upset about that.
Actually, I don't know if they were upset about Nexus merchandise making money, but why would they be upset about merchandise making money? It's just a matter of people, and I don't know who said it, and I mean, no disrespect, I don't really care, but it's just one of those things where if you make something and you put it out for sale, why would you be upset that it's selling and making you money? And what people don't understand is that no one knew, maybe with the exception of Vince McMahon, what the Nexus was going to become and how powerful the Nexus was going to become. And once they started, putting out merchandise, T-shirts, we were on the cover of cups from 7-Eleven and pay-per-views and hats and clothes and sweaters and armbands, and we were everywhere. It just caught on like fire, and it was something that WWE hit a grand slam on, because they're capable of hitting grand slams, and they're capable of hitting foul balls and striking out, and they hit a grand slam with the Nexus, and it was just one of those things where how could Vince McMahon, who was a genius, be upset with Nexus T-shirts selling and making the money they made if we're supposed to be bad guys, but look at Stone Cold Steve Austin. He was supposed to be a bad guy, and they tried to make him as bad as they possibly could. He was just so talented and charismatic that the fans just loved him, and they loved him for that. And, gone are the days where the blonde-haired, curly-haired, blue-eyed guy comes out on the white horse and the white tights and kisses babies and shakes hands, and the bad guy with tattoos and missing teeth comes out, and because he's ugly, he's the bad guy. And the good guy just, throws hip tosses and smiles for the camera and says, "Come on, baby." And no, the fans want to see someone who can come out, take charge, and kick somebody's tail. Mm-hmm. That's what the fans respond to nowadays. Yeah. So the Nexus did that, and we were something fresh, and we were something new. It wasn't John Cena winning the WWE title every other week and winning the match every week. It was someone coming out and taking it to John Cena. And to John Cena's credit, he had a lot to do with that, because he's an incredibly smart businessman. Mm-hmm. And it's just one of those things where it worked,
it started out so good, and do you think after a while, though, that like Cena beat all of you guys too much?
Yeah. Yeah. Once again, this is my opinion, and look where I am. You know what I'm saying? And my opinion didn't get me here. I know I'm here, and it's not anything to do with solid grapes or anything. It's just business. And I understand it. I chose to go. I had to go. There was nothing wrong with me not being with WWE anymore. But aside from that, yeah, I think that there were everyone has personal opinion, and me being on the inside and seeing it from the inside out, there's a lot more they could have done with the original Nexus. The incarnation of the Nexus wasn't the same. And it wasn't for, lack of talent, and it wasn't anyone's fault who was involved. Definitely not CM Punk for that matter, because he didn't need the Nexus, as you can see. CM Punk doesn't need any help. And on the same token, the Nexus was built to be so strong that the Nexus really didn't need CM Punk. Mm-hmm. But, like I said, above all else, with all due respect, CM Punk definitely didn't need the Nexus, and doesn't. And, I've said the hottest storyline, one of the biggest storylines in wrestling history, let alone in the history of WWE for that matter, not on the biggest show in wrestling history, WrestleMania. Please tell me that that's not a strikeout or a foul ball. How does that happen? So, you can say that it happened at the wrong time of the year or whatever the case may be, but if there's a main event scheduled between The Rock and John Cena a year from now, then how could the Nexus not have been on, the original Nexus for that matter, not have been on this past year's WrestleMania? I mean, think of the reaction that if John Cena was in the match with The Miz and The Rock, and everything was circled around that match, and we were in the ring, we beat up The Undertaker. I mean, there was no limit. We beat up Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. There was no limits to what the Nexus did. So why wouldn't the Nexus, or why couldn't the Nexus come down through the crowd and enter the ring exactly the same way we did on June 7th in Miami, Florida, jump the guardrail, Wade Barrett come down the entrance, and all of a sudden you see The Rock, you see John Cena and The Miz in the middle of the ring looking like, wait a minute, not again. And we jump in that ring and proceed to rip everything apart the same way we did with everything happening. Skip Sheffield, me and Darren Young, just the band back together. You can't tell me that wouldn't have been the biggest moment of WrestleMania and one of the biggest moments of WrestleMania history. Mm. So, did they beat us too much sometimes? Yes, but we also understood that this was a business, and business must continue. And we had a job to do, and we did it.
Mm-hmm. Got a couple of phone calls. We're going to take some people. Been on hold for a while. Gene, do you have a question?
Yes, Michael, my question is for you. You hear a lot of critics and also a lot of old-timers in the business talking about the new generation, about how they lack the psychology skills to come out of development, so they're not ready. It's like they're all manufactured. They look the same. They dress the same. They walk the same. They're not seasoned. So what would you say about those critics and those comments?
Well, I say this. First off, you know what you see, and you know what you see. You know what you like when you see it. You know what you don't like when you see it, and you know when you roll out a bag of apples and they all look the same, and you got to take time to pick one because they all look the same, or you just grab one. For that matter, on that matter, the W universe has common sense, and they're not stupid. As for the opinions of old timers or legends, they're right. When you look at it, because going other days, with the exception of a CM Punk or a Randy Orton, where a superstar debuts and they're unique and they're completely different from everything around them, and now I won't say go on the days, but it just doesn't happen as much. And most of the new talent, they don't have the experience that, guys of the past generations have, because the business is different. And, in some tokens, they kind of can't have that kind of experience. But at the same time, it's still up to you to find it. And, on that argument, a lot of things that a lot of the legends used to do can't be done anymore, because, the business and the environment of the business, the fans have changed and they're more sophisticated. You can't sit in a headlock for 30 minutes anymore, and so it's just not something that you can do anymore. But at the same time, you watch TNA, and I love TNA, but, some of those guys, X-Division guys, you see, doing all those incredible moves in a 6-minute match and win with something that doesn't top the move number 5, that's not bigger than move number 5. It's just like, okay, you just kind of went out there and flipped all over the place, but what story did you tell? And how did you connect with the audience? And it's just a double-edged sword, you know. And I criticize them, you know. I know when to criticize anyone, you know, because I enjoy TNA, but you know, I do understand where the legends and old timers come from when they say that, because this, you know, this industry, this genre is built on telling stories.
Anything else there, Gene?
Yeah, on a lighter note, what state has the best rats?
Say what's that?
What state has the best ring rats?
I honestly don't know who has the best rats. During my time, I was actually engaged. I actually got engaged. I asked my ex-wife to marry me the day before Nexus debuted. So I didn't really know, but I will say, judging from my situation at Tampa, Florida has the most rats. I will say that. Don't go to Tampa, Florida, expect to get married. Let me put it that way. Yeah.
All right.
John Cena move too.
Thank you, sir.
Let's
thank
call
you,
him, Gene. All right, we've got Tazo, the Greek, calling in.
All right.
How you doing, Michael?
I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm okay. You sound very intelligent, and I'm really enjoying this interview. I have a couple of questions, if you don't mind. The first one is, I hear you live in Florida, so are you going to be doing independent shows, and are you looking, or is TNA looking at you?
Yeah, I'm staying in Tampa, and I'm doing some independent shows, you know, here and there, and I'm making connections, you know, just behind the scenes. It's not one of those things where, you know, honestly, when I first got my release, I was relieved that I got it because of my experiences with WWE, but it also kind of hurt because I worked so hard to get there, and it was the reason why I'm in Tampa, you know, how I got to Tampa. It's not the reason why I'm here. So at first I didn't wrestle. I just didn't even know if I wanted to after everything I'd been through, but I've been, you know, working independently with a company called Florida Underground Wrestling and just kind of taking my time getting back into it. TNA, I don't know what they're doing. I have no idea. I mean, I've made some contacts with some TNA personnel, but it's not been, you know, an extreme amount of effort on my part or their part for that matter. And it's just, you know, a thing where if TNA is interested in me, then they'll let me know, you know, and it's just one of those things, you know. And I would go if they would have me. I would go. You know, I'm not chasing after TNA. You know, they have what they want, and you know, and they have that right. Same with Ring of Honor for that matter. I'm a huge fan of Ring of Honor as well, and I've been asked that too. You know, if they're interested in me, then they'll pursue me. You know, if they would have me, I would go. You know, my biggest interest is in going to Japan. That's what I really want to do.
What federation in Japan would you want to work in?
Oh man, any. I'm in love with New Japan, and no 01. I just, you know, it doesn't matter. I want to go to Japan. I want to go to Japan, and I want to match with Shinsuke Nakamura really bad. He's one of my favorite guys to watch ever. Him and Yuji Nagata. Those are just two of my favorites. But you know, otherwise, I would love to go there and just, you know. And I feel like I would thrive there. That's just one of the things I've always enjoyed is watching, you know, the wrestling in Japan.
Do you think there's a chance for you to go back to the WWE at any time? Is it something you'd want to do?
There's always a chance. One thing that, you know, you never say never in life, and you definitely never say never in the wrestling business. You know, no one ever thought that Eric Bischoff would walk out on Raw and hug Vince McMahon. No one ever thought that Goldberg would walk out on Raw and spear The Rock. Or that WO would show up on Raw, let alone in WCW originally. So it's just one of those things that you never say never, you know. And would I want to go back? You know, I don't know. It's just a matter of, you know, if they ever decide to call me back, then, you know, then I know what I'm doing now enough to negotiate and get what I want out of WWE, so that way they know what they have. And, I mean, they know what they have. They knew what they had when they had me. They knew what they had when they released me. And, you know, for the time being, there wasn't any plans for me, and I can accept that. You know, it's just no sour bridge there. I can accept that. And I had a good conversation with, you know, the talent relations, and I had a good relationship with them. I had a good relationship with Vince McMahon. And, you know, it's just, you know, I was a very good employee, you know, and I never caused any problems, never failed any drug tests or anything like that. You know, I was always on time. I did everything I was asked to do. It was just, you know, some people just didn't like me. It just was what it was. But, I have no problem with being released from WWE. It was an experience I needed to have and get away from. So the next time, if there's a next time, I don't know how to handle it better.
Mm-hmm. Did I interrupt you, Kyle, or did you have another question?
I had a question. Shoot me down if you guys asked it. The night that you guys came out and Daniel Bryan choked out whoever he choked out, I don't remember.
Yeah, we already asked
what
that.
was you guys asked? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm very sorry just to bring that up. All right, here's my last question. Do you think you got fired because you didn't shake John Cena's hand?
Oh no, he got shot. He got fired because he didn't shake John. Daniel Bryan?
No, you.
Do I think I got fired because I didn't shake his hand?
Now, if you're listening, Taz, he actually explained he tried to shake Cena's hand and Cena went.
Oh, okay. Okay. No, I'm just trying to make sure that. Okay, do I think I got fired because I didn't shake his hand? Oh no.
He didn't shake
I,
your hand.
No, he didn't shake my hand. No, no. As far as that particular incident, I tried to shake his hand. He didn't shake mine, but that's not why I got released.
Well, that's so disrespectful, and I'm shocked, and I can't believe it. And Michael, I wish you the best of luck. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling in, Tazo. What was the reason they gave you for letting you go?
Just there wasn't any immediate plans for me, and I had a really, really good conversation with John Laurinaitis, and regardless of his reputation, and whatever it is, what it is, he makes the effort, to talk to you and explain to you what's going on, and him and I had a good relationship, and I kept in contact with him, and I had a good rapport with him, and he called me himself and explained that he knows that I'm unhappy right now, and I was very unhappy. I was unhappy at FCW, and my relationship with Steve Kern wasn't really going that well. And and nothing against Steve Kern, he's a Hall of Famer. Or he should be. And I've said that, and I will keep saying it. He should be. But it was hard for me at FCW because I wasn't getting matches, and I wasn't allowed to work, and I was practicing, outworking everyone there, but kind of not getting anything in return, and it was frustrating. I was working through all of these injuries that I had, and just just waiting, and he knew I was unhappy, so he decided to go ahead and let me go, and said just go around the world, and maybe one day come back, and I told him thank you. I wasn't upset at all. I told him thank you. It was a relief, and he just said there's no immediate plans right now. There's no need for you to suffer if you're unhappy, and it was just one of those things that had to happen, and it caused me a lot of other problems personally. But at the same time, it also caused me a lot of relief. And in life, some things you just have to go through.
Well, why did they take Darren Young out of Nexus so early?
I have absolutely no idea. No idea. None of us know. And I'm going to tell you, we weren't. It wasn't explained to us. It wasn't explained to the fans, in all fairness. But on the same token, WWE is what WWE is for a reason, and it knows what it's doing even when it doesn't. So they always have a reason for what they're doing. Whether it makes sense or not, whether it makes sense to us or not, WWE can do whatever WWE wants to do because it is a billion-dollar entity that has survived. Whether we like how it has survived or not, it is still what it is. In my opinion, Darren Young was the most well-rounded in-ring of all of us. And, people say what they want about Daniel Bryan, and I will agree with it. Daniel Bryan deserves his reputation very much. But in my opinion, Darren Young was the most well-rounded, all-around in-ring out of all of us.
Did you guys, anyone ever talk backstage? Because a lot of people thought online that he looked facially similar to John Cena.
we gave him, he called, he got that a lot. He got that a whole lot, actually. It was just a funny thing, man. It was just, it was just something you couldn't avoid. And when you're in such a hot, the WWE is a hostile environment. It's not fun. So, when you're there, it's a job. And any way that you can fit in, any way that, that they can get to know you, it's one of those things. He got ripped for it. And Darren Young is a very, very classy person, very, very intelligent person. A very strong person. He's been through a lot in his life as well, so he can handle it. It wasn't something that he let break him down, and it was never anything done with the malicious intent. It was just funny,
Yeah, I joked on the show that they could have brought him in as like a John Cena from another dimension, like the Bizarro John Cena.
Yeah.
Did they ever? I don't know if they ever even brought it up on TV. They might have brought it up once. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Uh,
That? Oh, yeah. I mean, John Cena even, joked about it, but, on the microphone, John Cena was a genius. So, he'll take whatever he can and he'll make lemonade out of lemons. He's just that good on the mic. But,
yeah.
I will also say that I am just as good. But moving along,
All right.
it was joked around about, and it was funny,
Yeah. When they brought up, Punk took like a control of Nexus. I don't know what your opinion was, but to me, it kind of felt like it was just became like a vehicle for Punk, and a Nexus was kind of like almost this is kind of like his flunkies. Do you think that was a good move, putting Punk with Nexus?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think it was necessarily a bad move, and it was just one of those things where the Nexus was still making tons and tons and tons of money, and it was still hot. And once again, WWE knows what it's doing, even when it doesn't. So, it's just one of those things where why not bring back the original Nexus? Why reincarnate it and basically carry it on as a shell of its former self? Mm-hmm. And I guess to jumpstart it was to throw CM Punk into the Nexus. And at first I was interested, with the power struggle between CM Punk and Wade Barrett, but just the way that it ended up, I was disappointed. Obviously, being that I was a part of the original Nexus that worked so hard to make it what it was, and, felt like I was kind of like made to seem like I never existed. But, the CM Punk didn't need the Nexus. They could have had CM Punk run out and attack John Cena without him picking up the armband. It was a nice, immediate swerve. It was just one of those things that was a quick high that didn't really last. And, but I think that what they really could have done is they could have disbanded the Nexus for a little while and picked the right time to bring the original Nexus back, maybe with the addition of Michael McGillicuddy and Husky Harris, because they fit it, and bring it back stronger than ever, in the right time. And then maybe, have the feud between John Cena start, and then when the time is right, the Nexus, comes out and annihilates John Cena and gets ready to annihilate CM Punk, but they don't, because CM Punk was the force behind the Nexus in the first place, because if you remember correctly, we also jumped on the Straight Edge Society the night that we debuted the Nexus in the first place, and he happened to be there. So it's just one of those things that could have been easily tied in together, but it's just one person's opinion versus $1 billion company.
Did they ever tell you guys like the plans for the Raw GM, like who it would be, or do you think they even know themselves?
They never told us any plans, and obviously there was never a Raw GM that was identified. Right. So you whatever opinion you may have, probably the right opinion. So it's something that carried on for so long that there was really no payoff. And, it was what it was. I had people thinking that I was going to be the Raw GM when I came back and showed up on SmackDown and Raw, behind the scenes. But I would have done it well, but it's just, it's just one of those things that it is what it is. And, I don't pull the strings. I'm just attached to one of them, and I just do my job. And we, like I said, WWE is an entity that does what it does and knows what it's doing even when it doesn't. So, we just go along for the ride and enjoy the show.
Job's from our message board. He has a question. He wants to know, how was NXT perceived in the backstage area? Like some of the contests and stuff amongst the veterans and stuff.
Very entertaining. Everyone thought it was really funny watching us run through those matches. Let me tell you, everyone thought it was hilarious. And we were even like, wow, are we really having to do this? But we did, but that was the point. And they got the reaction that they wanted. They didn't expect me to do what I did. But, and the funny thing is that over the course of the week, I started to get a lot of support from, WWE talent backstage, because they got what I was doing. And they appreciated it, that I stood out. And I would get a lot of advice. They pull me aside and say, that was awesome. Next time, do this, do that, do this. You're the only one standing out. You're the only actual heel. You're the only one with any personality. You're the only one. Do it this way. Try it this way. And I got a lot of support. But yeah, they found it entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Larry Higgins here is on the line. Do you have a question for Michael Tarver?
Hey, Mike. Hey, Jack. Hey, 1 Inch. What's going on, boys?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, bro. I just got home from work, and as soon as I got on, I thought I'd jump on and say hello to all the guys and yourself. I kind of missed half your interview. I'm sorry about that. So if I asked something that's already been asked, please forgive me.
All right.
Fantastic.
No problem.
Just wondering where you stand wrestling-wise right now, and how you broke in and that type of thing.
Right now, I'm still working wrestling independently, and open to whatever opportunity comes. And my main focus isn't wrestling, but it's my ministry and my music and those things, and speaking and traveling. But I broke in 2000. I started training in 2004 in Akron, Ohio, at a place called the Shamrock nightclub. And it was just one of those things where I've always been a fan, and I didn't necessarily grow up dreaming of being a wrestler. I kind of as a kid, but it was just I decided to try it, and I told myself I'm going to do this and have fun. It's going to be something I'm going to do to have fun, something new, something different. And I got good at it, or good enough at it that I showed potential, and pretty quickly, and it became a thing where I was like, wow, maybe I should take this seriously, and I sent, ironically enough, I sent in the tape to the Tough Enough that was in 2004, I believe, and I didn't hear anything back, of course, so obviously I got declined, but I just started traveling, and I started, working, and my story is unique because I actually had my first match, my first day in the business, and that's something that should never happen, but I had my first match, I walked into that bar and said, I want to be a wrestler, and they took a look at me and said, what can you do? I'm like, well, I play all the sports under the sun, so I can definitely do this, obviously not understanding what wrestling truly is. And, and I showed them that I could move, and it was their idea to put me in a ring. And I actually did well. It was a 3-minute squash match, and I got squashed by somebody half my size, who ended up being the guy who finished my training. But I listened to one major, he's smart enough to only do things that I was capable of, which really was nothing at that point. But I listened, and I was athletic and coordinated enough to be able to do what he needed me to do. And they saw potential, and they trained me. And I continued to train and wrestle every week, and then I started traveling every weekend, and I would literally work 3 to 4 nights a week in my first year. Actually, the entire time I've been in wrestling, period, for the last 8 years, I've been literally working multiple nights a week, and it wasn't one of those things where I worked once a month. And I've been blessed to have the opportunity to work a lot of matches and get a lot of ring time. And before I got to WWE, of course, I developed a lot of bad habits, but I also developed a certain comfort level that a lot of guys don't have because I have so much experience. And I'm a quick learner, and I got to WWE and figured it out. This is how I'm supposed to be working.
Yeah, no, it was good stuff. I mean, that Nexus angle, when you guys first pulled that off, was probably one of the most exciting angles in wrestling, probably to say the last, I would say, 5 to 10 years. And hats off to all you guys for making people do the double take. I never had to rewind Raw at least 5 times to watch that whole beatdown. It was epic.
Thank you, man. Much appreciated.
Thanks for taking the call.
Thanks for calling, Larry.
Thanks, Jack.
No problem. It's the 937 area code. Who are you?
I'm Jake.
Jake?
Yeah.
All right. You got a question for Michael Tarver?
No, not really. Sorry.
All right.
Man, the callers are falling apart tonight, Jack.
Yeah.
That's all good.
I think what he meant to say is there backstage politics in WWE.
Nikhil wants to know, when you stand around the hallways on Raw and SmackDown with the phone, was there any plan for that? Where was it going?
Yeah, there was a plan, that I wasn't really completely informed about, but, WWE protects itself, and it should. So the idea of it was I was recruiting, and it wasn't really said or pinpointed that I was going to be wrestling or not wrestling, leaning more towards not wrestling, but I was recruiting. And it was basically to build interest to see if the fans still cared about me at all. And to put a twist, to take advantage of what they built and put so much time, energy, and money into Nexus and using its members, and original members for that matter. And, basically what I was doing backstage was recruiting and looking at WWE talent, I guess perhaps to build a stable, or I'm not quite sure what it was going to be. It was something that I was willing to do and was ready, to do whatever they asked me to do, and that was really that. It wasn't, I can't give a more exciting answer, but it worked because it bred a lot of curiosity, and the fans were really interested and wanted to know, which tells me that I did something that made them want to see me. And obviously I was only in the ring because this man put me in the ring, so I do understand that, I'm not biting the hand that fed me, but at the same time, it was something I did that made them want to see me, and it was, it worked, so it's just one of those things where it never was capitalized on, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, man, I just want to let everybody know you have a website. It's TyroneEvansB20.com, and you can also follow yourself on Twitter. And is there anything that you'd like to tell, all your fans out there that you never get a chance to tell them?
Sure. I regardless of what you saw on NXT or Nexus or whatever, I absolutely loved being out in that ring. I'm a natural performer at heart. I loved being under the pressures of the camera, being in front of 20,000 people, 10 million people, whatever on camera. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. There was nothing like the fans just yelling, screaming, booing. Yeah, I love when they tell me I can't wrestle, and I loved it. There was nothing like it. It was definitely a highlight of my life. Not the highlight of my life. The highlight of my life is it will always be my children, and the God I serve. But right now, what I'm doing is my ministry, and I'm working on a 2-part album that will be released this year. It is a contemporary Christian, I guess you can call it, hip-hop album. The first part of it will be called The Armor of God. The second part will be called Manic on Fire, and it'll be released this year. And I'm doing a lot of outreach, working on going to Costa Rica to play basketball against their national basketball team and do missionary work there for a week next month. Just a lot of outreach movements with my church and Sample Crossover Church. Very, very, very instrumental church in the community, and and just basically getting closer in my walk with God and my spirituality, and trying to use my powers for good, so to speak. And it's nice to see young kids, teenagers who know who I am from my former job, and being able to influence them to get off drugs and feel good about themselves, and know that if I can go from being homeless to being on 2 WrestleManias, then they can do anything. Mm. And it's not too late to do it. I signed my contract when I was 30 years old. It's never too late in life. You can do anything.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good message, and you should be proud of what you're doing.
I'm working on it, and I'm writing a book, and I'm working on writing a book as well. So it's just I'm proud of where I've gone, and I know that God has a plan for me that far exceeds WWE. But WWE is just a vehicle to get me to Tampa, Florida, which is where He wants me to be, so I can do His work. And that is what I believe in my heart, and I stand by it. And and I know that certain things come and go in life. Marriage, women, friends, money, careers, jobs. But God doesn't. And and regardless of what you believe, there's something that you can hold on to in that and use to your life and apply it there.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for coming on tonight. It's been a really good interview.
Thank you so much for having me. I very much appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Can we just keep you here for a second?
Of course.
This is Jim Cornette. You're listening to InYourHeadOnline.com, and you made the right choice.